Now, the verdict in the Derek Chauvin case is now given, and he's going to jail, and in about maybe a month and a half, we're going to find out exactly how long he's going to be going to jail, because that's when the sentencing takes place. And that's still going to be a very big question of how much time he's going to serve for his role in the killing of George Floyd. Now, I held off on making this video for a little bit because I wanted to collect my thoughts, and I still wanted the reaction to be able to roll in before I respond to it. You can't respond to a reaction, if the reaction hasn't happened yet. So I do want to say this. It is interesting that so many people are claiming that Chauvin didn't get a fair trial. Now, I watched that whole trial. It's interesting to really claim that as someone who has watched it. He didn't get a fair trial. His lawyer essentially didn't have any defense for what he did because he had no defense. They went so far as to claim that a nearby patrol car, the carbon monoxide from the exhaust, contributed to choking Floyd. And, not the guy kneeling on his neck. And the drugs, which didn't actually, from any medical standpoint, have anything to do with it. The fact that he was face down on the ground, his chest was compressed, his neck was leaned on, etc. The only thing that the defense could actually do was try to claim that it was something else without really showing any evidence whatsoever of that. It was a case of everything but having Chauvin's knee on his neck and his chest compressed, etc. You see, that's usually the case. Now, in trials like these, there's usually like some kind of a coherent defense. Like, for example, Trayvon Martin and Zimmerman. There was the question of stand your ground. And that was a very key element to that trial, which was a complete travesty. How you can provoke that incident and then claim you're standing your ground. That's a separate thing altogether. The fact is, in a lot of these cases, there is some kind of mitigating circumstance that is used to justify the actions of the officer or the actions of the racist. But in this case, there was none. You can tell that from Chauvin's own defense team, that they really didn't have any argument. You could see that Chauvin was just showing cold-blooded indifference, if not outright hatred, towards Floyd on the ground. Because they made no argument. In fact, I would be willing to bet, my opinion, not a fact on record, that the more the crowd yelled at him to get off of Floyd, probably the more he stayed with his knee on him, and maybe in some cases pressing harder. The whole hands in the pockets and kind of thing that was going on through there. I wouldn't be surprised if he was that spiteful. I mean, there's a lot of cops who are incredibly spiteful and hateful. And I think that in this case, he certainly demonstrated that by his choice of actions of not even wanting to move when other people had acknowledged that something was wrong and said, can you move so that we can check on him? And then once he was checked on and said, hey, don't think he's breathing, he continued to stay on his neck. I mean, if that's not murder, what is? But it's interesting noticing the reaction, I like to use the term back the blue no matter who, as it's something very similar to vote blue no matter who, as it is blind adherence to a corrupt, inherently evil system or organization or party, etc. So I think it's actually a pretty fair comparison. All of this goes on. Now, you would have thought that you can admit when your guy is wrong. If you have any integrity, you can do that. You can say, well, yeah, he shouldn't have kneeled that long, but he didn't intend to kill him, kind of thing like that. But we didn't even see that. It was the literally didn't do nothing. At the very least, people defending Chauvin could have at least said, okay, he shouldn't have kneeled on him that long, or he shouldn't have kneeled on him in that way, or he shouldn't have restrained him in that way. But not even that. Not even admitting the tiniest little error in what he was doing. Instead, it was just straight up, Chauvin did nothing wrong. And I think that inability to show that even small modicum of responsibility, personal responsibility, or what have you, speaks volumes about those who back the blue, no matter who, and the real attitude they have towards not just the African American population, but the general population of the United States as well.
Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.